Hey guys, it's your girl Sherri Summers. Welcome to Monetize Your Influence podcast. And listen, I'm super excited today because usually when I come on here, you're listening to me and only me talk about how to use your voice as a strategy to monetize. But I have a special treat for you. For today, I have a guest. I have a special guest. The beautiful Kayla Joshua is going to come in here and talk about her business. And the reason why I wanted you to hear Kayla is not just only my client, but she is so inspirational, y'all. Every time I am going through a hard time or a challenge, Kayla has helped me to overcome just from her story, just from her voice. So, without further ado, I just want to say, normally someone have this big old bio talking about who the person is and what they do. I don't like that. I like to let the person do the talking for themselves. So without further ado, Kayla, welcome to Monetize Your Influence podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. I want you just to, let's start off from the beginning. Tell us a little about your background as a tax and insurance professional and what business looked like before you got, we're going to talk about your background in your health and all the stuff that you were diagnosed with. So take it away,
Mhm.
Kayla.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Joshua, and I am a financial service strategist. So, what I do is teach people how to make 100K in 90 days using my Power program. And prior to me doing that, I had a associate's degree in criminal justice, bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I even got my master's in social work, and I used to be a caseworker for the state of Nevada Department of Welfare. So I always been in the business of helping people. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur, I should say, because I feel like I was kind of programmed to go to school, get good grades, work for the government, and get a good paying job. Well, one day I decided to do credit repair and taxes on the side, not thinking, much of it. And it actually was very successful. The credit repair, not so much because you have to try to change people's mindset. But
I'm
I was
sure.
actually able to make what I made working as a caseworker with, like I said, multiple degrees, even a master's in social work from USC. I was able to make from the comfort of my own home what I made all year long as a caseworker.
So Kayla, I
So
have a
that
question for you really quick. Um, when we met on a challenge, matter of fact. Yeah, I was
I was
hosting a
still
chat.
working. I was
Yes,
still working for the
yes. So
state.
was that the caseworker job you were
Yes,
on when we met?
yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
wow. Okay. Okay,
Yes.
wow. Okay,
I
wow.
did not
Okay,
get
I
my
was
job
trying to.
until after we met.
Okay, so when you came on the challenge, you were that was the
Mhm.
case where okay, I'm just trying to put the
Yes.
pictures all
I
together.
still
Okay.
had it. I still had a 9 to 5. I quit my job 10/13 2022. So it's been
Oh,
3 years. Yeah.
wow.
So since we've been rocking together, I haven't that's when I quit my job.
Oh, yeah, I remember because y'all, listen to me. Kayla was on one of my live challenge that I did, and she came outside. I remember her sneaking on the phone to talk to ask me a question. Wow, what? So you became full time right after we started working together, and you never went
Yeah.
back. Wow. Oh, okay, y'all. I am learning something that y'all learning. So awesome, awesome. So okay, keep going. Tell us more about you, and also tell us how you I would love to know how you navigate, your health conditions and all that, even remaining full-time entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I'm 43 now. So when I was 28, I was diagnosed with lupus nephritis. So what that is, it's a type of lupus that attacks the kidney. It's different kinds of lupus. I don't know if you guys know, like some attacks the heart, some attacks, your skin. The type I have attacks your kidney. So I needed a kidney transplant. I got up my first transplant the year my daughter was born, so October 26, 2012. So I had a baby and a transplant in the same year. But when you get a
Wow.
kidney from a deceased donor, it doesn't last as long. So this year, I was on transplant list for 12 months, which is typically like non-existent. When you're on a transplant list, you're on the transplant list for years, 5 years, 10 years. By the grace of God, the first time I was on the transplant list for 2 years in Nevada. But I got on the transplant list here in Georgia in March of last year. And this year, I was able to get a kidney. And this is after starting dialysis, hemodialysis, peritoneal dialysis, so on and so forth. I feel that, keep in mind too, just a full time entrepreneur, what helped me continue to push and grow my business, even though I was going through those obstacles with my health and being, right now a single parent, just me and my 13-year-old daughter at home, that kind of helped me focus on staying away from the negativity about what was going on with me. Because if I focused on that, I wouldn't have been able to be successful in my business.
So so Kayla, oh my God, we got so much to unpack here
Mm-hmm.
because you start off saying that you were working a 9 to 5, then you
Mm-hmm.
got you signed up for a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and when you signed up for a challenge, you came on to my coaching program, and
Right.
then you're you came onto a coaching program, and from I was reading your 90-day assessment
Mm-hmm.
because guys, when you work with me, you get this 90-day assessment. You're not the same person from the first
No.
person that wrote. You're not the same
Well,
person, and
we be in class and you be talking, I'll be like, oh, I know the answer to that. I already know the answer to that.
isn't that crazy? Like you can really, yes, it's like self coaching yourself. But do you? Here's my thing. Do you believe that be more premature to go through the challenge that you went through with your health because you're in a different space at the time when this diagnosis happened helped you? How, what would you say about that versus a Kayla if you were prior to that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because it starts in your mind, whether it's personal, whether it's business, etc. And what I learned from the mentorship is, you take a negative and you always try to make it something positive.
Mm-hmm.
So even going through what, how is that ringing? Even going through, I said to myself, this is a testimony. This is, what I have to do to get to the next level. Had I not been in mentorship for the last 3 years, I
Mm-hmm.
probably would have been choking. My health would have declined drastically because before mentor entrepreneurship, like I said, I went through this before. I was just working a 9 to 5. As soon as they told me I had lupus, my kidney functioning went from 50% to 15% in less than 6 months, because in my mind it was about, I'm gonna die. What is lupus? How do you get this? So on and so forth. But this time, going through the same thing after mentorship, after a change and a shift in mindset, I was like, oh, this is nothing. I got this. I have to use this to continue to grow and better myself and leave a legacy for my family.
So, Kayla, after when you learn about this kidney situation, how
Mhm.
did you shift your daily life in business? What did that look like with now? Because now your lifestyle has to change.
Mhm.
How did that? How did you shift your treatments, and how did you shift your daily life in your business?
Well, what I used to do a lot of things, old school way, go to a lot of different events, do this and then the other. So instead of not doing absolutely nothing, and especially when I didn't have the energy too, I
Yeah.
just did more audio books, so more self development via audio books, more online classes, and just put all of that, the little energy I did have to focus on my business. But when I say I was feeling bad, I was feeling beyond bad. I didn't even tell people how bad I was feeling. I couldn't sleep in the bed. I couldn't breathe. When I would go to the grocery store, I had to get on one of those Amigo carts to go grocery shopping. So my daughter did most of the shopping, but I didn't tell everybody. I didn't let people know. I just continued to push because I know I had to do what I had to do, and eventually things would change. I didn't know it was going to change so fast, but I felt it in my heart of hearts that things will eventually change.
So, if for everyone who is looking, if you're on YouTube or if you're tuning in audio on our Monetize Your Influence podcast, I really wanted Kayla to be on here because I get it when people say to me, Sherri, I don't have the energy to market my business and put myself out there. Sherri, I don't have the energy to tell people about what I do. But I get it to a certain point because whenever someone say that to me, I go back to clients like Kayla that I have that is having to go through treatment to fight for her life and having to sit on a cart to go grocery shopping and having to find a positive attitude in some way to maintain her capacity to do her job to bring money into her family and do it with grace and faith, right? So
Mhm.
it's people will sometimes, Kayla says that, man, Sherri, you be snatching edges or whatever you say, but you constantly validate my point of saying when you want something bad enough, even in your situation, you do it. And here's the thing, like, you were going through a lot. I mean, a lot more
Mhm.
than I expected, like
Yeah.
a whole lot. Now, how did you have any family support through all of this? How did you get the support, if there was any? Where did you seek counseling, family support to help you navigate all these different things that you were going through?
Before I get into that, one part I did forget was for the last question you asked, because I did follow the blueprint that I learned when I was in mentorship. I still was able to post constantly every single day.
Wow.
So because I went live every week prior to, I was able to have content that I can repurpose and reuse to post to all my social media platforms. So had I not did the mentorship, I wouldn't have had that content to make it seem and appear that I was, posting fresh material. So I want to thank you for that because that helped me as well.
And
Um,
I appreciate you even saying that, because I'm so wanting people to hear your message and hear your story. And I
yeah.
appreciate you really validating what Kayla is talking about is our virtual selling freedom academy. She's this is our third year in our program, and we talk about, there are days you're not going to want to show up, but when you have things out there that you can repurpose, when you have a virtual assistant and you have enough items out there, enough things that you've done, the days you don't want to put yourself out there, you have created enough virtual asset, enough blueprint that your virtual assistant can pull from to make it seem
Mhm.
that you're still on, even when you're not. Because I know there are days you're not going to feel like being on, but you have created enough blueprint. You more than likely you've created enough content out there that he or she can pull from that library of things that you've done, from your challenges that you have done from your recording, and put yourself out there. And Kayla, just again validating why it's so important to make sure that you're creating these content, because there are going to be days that you can't because you're super sick. And Kayla, I remember when I got so sick and I just didn't think I was going to make it either. I talk about it
Mhm.
in the challenge code. And I remember just laying in the bed sweating, and my vertigo was just bad. I had so bad I couldn't get to go
Mhm.
to the bathroom, and I just could not understand if I was going to make it. And I remember, like, ego and pride, what's going to happen to me. Did that ever came up for you? Like, did the ego, or just saying, like, don't want anyone to know that I'm sick? Did any of that ever came up for you in your moment? Or did you kind of like, I don't, this is something I want to keep private? Because I know sometimes it's a cliche, it's an illness, sometimes it's a bit cliche. How did you feel in that moment? Did you feel like you were afraid to tell people that you were sick, or how is that?
All the time. I feel I'm very transparent. At some point in time in my life, I was told, by family members, don't tell people what you're going through. Don't tell people this. You don't want them looking at you some type of way. And I get it. And a lot of our people aren't very mature when it comes to certain things. Like when I first told people I had lupus, they were like, "Oh my goodness, are you gonna die?" I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, no." But as time progressed, I learned to realize to use that as a testimony instead. So now I yell it to the rooftop how I feel, even if I'm not feeling the best. My ego and pride gets in the way, but I just have to, find a way to overcome it instead of, like I said, thinking negatively, using it as a resource that if I can't pull through, finding another way to do something else. So that way I know I did something today in my business. Because when you're working for somebody else, you're going to go to work. So you have to have that same respect for yourself, for your business that you have.
can we touch on that? I'm navigating from some of the questions because Kayla's touching on some good point, and I'm looking down because I'm like, I don't want to miss this notes because I want to ask her this. We had class last night, Kayla, and you just brought up such a good point. We were talking about how we often are afraid to pitch our service like we're selling poison, and we're afraid to
Yes.
tell people what we do. It's not the right time. It's not the right timing. It's not the right space. We shouldn't do that. People will think we're salesy. But we were mentioning that every time you mentioned, not me, you mentioned that every working at a bank, every time we go to the bank, regardless if there's $2 in our bank account, that teller is gonna pitch to every single person that come up to her that she served. And we weren't afraid as a teller, she's not afraid of doing that. But when we start owning our business, we become afraid of doing that. Why do you think that is? Because you brought that up, and I'm still, Kayla, still sitting on that. Like, huh? Like, wow, Kayla, wow. Like, I'm just so proud of you. Sometimes the words that come out of your mouth, like, that's a good point. Like, this teller don't, she telling me about the CDs and high interest savings that I can benefit from, and she don't even care what my bank account look like. So why we can't apply that same thing without thinking somebody think we're salesy? Can you kind of touch on that from our conversation last night?
Yeah, because people don't want to be sold to. But in the reality of the matter is, when we just need to face it, we sell all day long. People sell to us all day long. We are our brand. So that's why you have to really look at it that way. And it took me, and I actually forgot, had you not mentioned it last night, the light bulb wouldn't have went off. I was like, hold on. I worked in banking for 15 years in order to fund, me going to college as a single parent then. And I was like, every person who came up to my line, would you like to open a new CD? Would you like to open up a bank account? Would you like to open a money market? Would you like an IRA? Because I got paid $12 an hour to do that. When I could be that same person for myself and get paid $1,000 to do it in 5 minutes.
Mm.
It's just that we're so trained to do it for someone else, but we can't do it for ourselves. That's
Hmm.
impossible. That's crazy to think
Is
that way. It's
isn't
just
it?
crazy.
Isn't it? So in staying back on track with a
Mhm.
conversation, what does it look like in servicing clients when you're trying to wait on a kidney to happen? And guys, if you've never been through this situation, you don't know if you're going to get that call. You don't know.
Mm-mm.
So here's Kayla still servicing clients. And I remember one
I
time I
think
called
I
you were
told you. Yeah, I said, Sherri, I'm gonna call you back 'cause I'm getting a kidney in a couple of days. They said I'm about to get a kidney. I was in the car picking up my baby from school. I'm like, hey Sherri, I'm about to get a kidney. And they haven't even confirmed it with me. They were like, we may have a kidney for you. Oh, that's mine.
can we
That's mine.
wait. We're giving it away too fast. So let me just I want to back up a little bit. We
Yeah.
Kayla had revealed to the community, this is why community is important. Community about what she's going through, and she's waiting on a kidney. And of course, we all are like, because my girlfriend and I went through this, and my iron was low because I was ready to give her my own kidney, and I
Mhm.
realized that, oh, I can't. I'm having women issues, and my irons has always been low because of my monthly cycle, and that's how deep we are in this community. And
Mhm.
then we don't know when that time is, but one of our clients that are inside our membership, her
Mm.
husband is also waiting on a kidney. So you guys were able to meet in the community and kind of, I call it fellowship together to kind of talk about. Can you express that? Because I want to show the people the power of being in a community. This is something, because people are like, oh, I got chat GTP, I don't need coaching. But this is something chat GTP cannot do. Had you not been in the community, you and her would not have met, because her husband is also still waiting on a kidney, and he has been on the list longer than you. Oh
Mhm.
God, this is just a wow. Ooh. Okay, go ahead, Kayla.
So, community, not to bring religion or relationship into it, but it's kind of like church. You have to be around like-minded people in order to grow. You can't be the smartest one in the room, so you need to be around other people. Now, I already had known her because she's in the travel industry. But had I not been in the community, had she not joined the community, we would have never had that conversation about her husband being on dialysis and so on and so forth. She gave me tips because this is my first time on dialysis. I was blessed the first time to get a kidney without even going through dialysis.
Wow.
So I never knew about how hemodialysis worked. I didn't know how peritoneal dialysis worked. And because of the community, she was able to give me advice, tell me how her husband feel, good days, bad days, what he goes through. And if
Jesus.
I wanted to apply for what was it? She was telling me I could look for cert, what is that called? Medicare, not Medicare.
Medicaid. Yeah.
The income, how to apply for the income for disability income. I wouldn't have known any of that information, even though I didn't need all of that because God came through. But I wouldn't have known any of that information without having somebody to talk to and get me through that during that time. Like literally, it was like a month
Wow.
later.
And Kayla, so because I don't want to forget this, because my spirit, because I lead with the spirit, my spirit rep.
Mhm.
What do you say to somebody right now who's truly trying to grow their business, but they're facing a chronic illness, and they're in a situation that they're really trying to go, they're trying to generate revenue for their family, they're
Mhm.
in currently in the situation that you are in, because I know you're still praying your way through. But
Yeah.
what word would you say to that entrepreneur, that mom, that male or female, that's listening right now, and they're currently in that same, they're still there? What word of
Mhm.
encouragement would you say when they're trying to grow a business and still trying to get over this chronic illness that they're currently in?
I would say first and foremost, it starts in your mind. It starts in your mind. I know other people with the same type of illness that they diagnosed me with, but I never claimed it. I said that's what the doctors say, but that's
Mm.
not what I say. So as long as I continue to live my life as if that wasn't the case, my health did not decrease as fast. My business did not decrease because every single day I lived as if that was not put on me. And I do not claim that. So continue to push through. I'm not saying be crazy, but you have to have a why that'll make you cry. You have to have crazy faith to believe that my business is going to work. So if you have to I have to take transplant medication for the rest of my life. I still take my medicine, but I still, after that, I have to live my life for me in this moment. Because even a person without a chronic illness, tomorrow not promised to nobody. Continue to live, work your business to the fullest.
And another thing I want to point out, Caleb, to you is, what if you have somebody who wants to start a business? They're interested in
Mhm,
starting a business, and but they may even be, they may maybe have an illness, may not have an illness. Do you have
mhm.
something that you're in a tax professional space, you're in the insurance space, do you have something that you can help them with? Do you have, what do they need to do, what are the steps that they need to do when it comes to starting their business?
All right, well, shameless plug. I do have an ebook, which is an LLC setup, and it's only $25. And it teaches you how to change that side hustle to a legitimate business because, we're always taught to have a side hustle, but never how to work it like a real business. So I do have that ebook, but for those who actually don't want to do the work themselves, I have packages in place. So I help you set up the LLC, the payroll for your business, establish business credit, get you a virtual address, which you need to establish great business credit. A lot of people don't know that. A business email address. You can't use at gmail.com, at yahoo.com. My business email is info@joinkayla.com because you have to look like a legitimate business owner. So I have different packages in place depending on what level you're at. Because some people may have already have the LLC in place, but they don't have the business credit or they don't have bookkeeping, to give that information to their tax professional and so on and so forth, or either pay their quarterly taxes. So I do have that information available for those who either want to, read it and do it themselves, or to say, hey, here you go, and you can, provide the services for me.
Kayla, in that, what is the name of that product that you just mentioned about getting that business started for that LLC? What is the name of it?
The ebook is How to Establish Your LLC,
Because
and then
I want to drop it below
oh
inside of our
yes,
show
definitely.
notes for
Yes,
them.
the ebook is How to Establish Your LLC. So it basically takes you through the beginning to the end, no matter what state you're located in, how to create the LLC, those articles of incorporation, register agent. Because if you don't have that LLC, you're not separating yourself from the business. And what that means is if you're just running a business as a sole proprietor, which is under your social or even under an EIN number, and somebody sues you and you don't have an LLC, they could take you for everything you own, any asset, your house, your car, anything. Whereas when you have an LLC, you're running a business as a legal limited liability company. So God forbid if someone were to come after your business for any reason, then they can sue your business. They can't touch your personal assets.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
That's legit. And Kayla, I'll just have two questions before we go because I could talk to you all day because you're just so full of knowledge. So whenever I have a financial question, I call Kayla like, "Hey Kayla, what do I do with this? Or how do I do this? Kayla, I was like, "Kayla, how do I get these cars?" Kayla got all the special cars that I need when I travel. Um now, what does a day in the life of Kayla look like? What does your schedule look like? And the reason why my spirit realm is telling me to ask you this question is because I want people to understand when you're in a situation when you're trying to get your health together. Some people may be out there feeling like they're not accomplishing enough, like the day just passing them by, and they're not feeling like they're winning. So I want them to identify how successful you are, and even though there are days they may be like, "Hey, I didn't post today," and I want them to see what is a day in the life of Kayla. What does that? That's my. I have two. This is my first one. What does
Hmm.
that look like for you from start to finish? And I know it changes, but what does typically that look like?
Well, right now, I get up probably not early enough. Right now, I'm getting up at about 6:30 a.m. And so I hop into a Facebook Live for a church because I'm new to Georgia. So I watch church online. So I hop in and do Bible study in the morning for an hour. So that's till about 7:30. And then once I finish that, then of course get my daughter ready for school, take her to school, medication time, 9 o'clock, get back here. Okay, now it's time to focus on my business. Even when I'm taking her to school, though, I'm listening to an audiobook. When I'm done with Bible study in the morning, I'm listening to whatever audiobook pertaining to business or either just self development. So then I get home, I contact my assistant. Hey, this is what we're doing for today. This is the task for today. So she has tasks for the week that I need her to do, and she has daily tasks that I need her to do. And so that's what, I do as soon as I get home. While she's working on those tasks, while she's doing that part of the business, I'm marketing, whether it's answering the questions to people, on social media. And now, now that my health is back, I'm trying to get back into the streets. So during that time, from the time my daughter's at school, so from 8 o'clock to 4:15 when she got out of school, while she's at school doing her work, I'm working on me and my business throughout that whole entire time
I
between
love how
business.
I love how you pointed out because a lot of people don't. They think, "Oh, my social media manager will take care of my comments." I like
No.
to answer my comments, and I like to get in my DM. If I can't on the weekends, my assistant does, Angel does.
Yeah.
But me too. I like building real relationships. So it's good to
Yeah.
know that you. And how do you maintain your capacity level when you're making sure everything is, how you making sure, when you're getting tired, and do you check to, okay, I'm feeling a little tired today. How do you make sure that you stay at that capacity, your capacity level is in check?
Well, currently, the doctors is helping with that. I have to go to the doctor still because I'm only 45 days out. So I have to go to the doctor twice a week. And every single day, because this is part of my routine as well, I take my blood pressure, my temperature, and my weight to see, make sure those are all in line. So I'm getting my blood results twice a week. I'm getting my vitals done every day. I might just keep doing that even after they tell me not to, because it's kind of good to know, where you're at, especially if we're not in the medical field. And then if I'm, have a break, I'll take a walk around the neighborhood or do something like that to get some type of exercise. And if I'm done with everything that I did for my business, then I'll take a nap here and there. But that's far and few between. I need to start taking more naps. I need more naps.
We all need to start taking more naps. Kayla, it was such a pleasure having you today. How can people get in touch with you? Because, man, we could be here talking all day. It's so amazing listening to your story, and you have been such a blessing. And I know somebody's going to listen to this and was blessed from your story, from everything that you've been through, and still have a successful tax and insurance business. How can people get in touch with you?
You can go to my website is joinkayla.com, and there you'll be able to join my Facebook community where I drop tips and tools about financial literacy every day. I go live every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And it has all my products and services on the website as well. So tax preparation, LLC setup, life insurance, credit restoration, because a lot of people don't tell you you have to have a good regular credit score in order to get some business credit. So that's another thing people aren't aware of. But yeah, you could definitely contact me on my website and it'll take you directly to my community.
I love it. And that's
Hmm.
a wrap for us today, y'all. I know we went a little bit further, but listen, I know you got some value in this. I walked away with so much value. So I'm so excited for that you tune in. It's your girl, Sherri Summerbell, and I cannot wait to see you in our next episode. Kayla, thank you so much. All her
Thank you
information
for
will
having
be
me.
in the description. Make sure you follow her, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you grab her LLC packet, because if you need to set up your business and make sure it's set up properly, that's the best $25 that you will ever buy. Make sure you get it right now. And I have all her description inside, all her information inside of her description. Until next time, see you on our next episode.